Hare Krishna and welcome back to the Narayaneeyam sessions. So today we'll do chapter 4 or Dashakam 4 of the Narayaneeyam. We know that each chapter of the Narayaneeyam is known as a Dashakam because it consists of 10 shlokas. Dasha means 10. But we also learned that there are few chapters that have got more than 10 shlokas, and this is one such chapter, the fourth one. It has got 15 shlokas. That is the highest number of shlokas in the entire Narayaneeyam. Okay. Here in this fourth chapter, the poet Sri Melpattur Narayana Bhattatiripad explains the devotional path through the Ashtanga Yoga system for ordinary people like us to understand. All right. And today, many people consider yoga as a workout session or physical fitness, some sort of physical fitness exercises for keeping the body fit. Actually, yoga is much more than that. It is a way of life. Okay, and we know that this word yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means to link or to connect with the Lord. All right, so let's start with this. Let's get started. As usual, we'll read only the first shloka of the chapter and then we'll do a quick summary. All right, so let's read the first shloka. Kalyataam mama kurushva tavatim कल्यते भवतुपासनं यया स्पष्टमष्टविधयोगचर्यया पुष्टयाशु तव तुष्टिमाप्नुयाम्. We saw yesterday that Bhattatiri is asking the Lord for relief from his ailments. He is suffering from acute rheumatism. He is praying to the Lord for to relieve him from his illness, not to enjoy sensual pleasures, but to engage his senses in the service of the Lord. Okay, so here in this chapter, he starts off by saying, "O Lord, please bestow on me just enough health necessary to worship thee, so that I can practice the Ashtanga Yoga system and earn thy grace." And so, what is this Ashtanga Yoga? It is the 8-limbed yoga system. What are the 8 limbs? Yeah, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. And Bhattatiri continues to say, "O Lord, I can then strictly follow the disciplines of Yama and Niyama and then practice Asana for meditating on thee." So, Yama and Niyama are the rules and regulations to be followed, the do's and the don'ts. Yama relates to non-violence, non-possessiveness, non-stealing, etc. And Niyama relates to purity, both internal and external purity. How do we maintain external purity? By taking bath, wearing clean clothes, etc. And internal purity is maintained by nurturing good thoughts, prayers, etc. Okay, so Niyama relates to purity, contentment, being happy, always being contented with whatever we have, contentment, then study of the scriptures, etc. Okay, and asana relates to postures like Padmasana, Sukhasana, etc. Okay, and then Bhattatiri continues to say, "O Lord, after sitting in a steady posture, I will chant the Pranava mantra, the Omkara, the syllable Om, and then practice Pranayama and Pratyahara." Pranayama and Pratyahara are breathing techniques for controlling the mind and the senses. Pranayama is control of the mind, and Pratyahara is for controlling the senses, withdrawing the senses from their respective sense objects. Like our senses are always after their sense objects, right? Like our eyes like to see, ears love to hear, and the skin enjoys the sense of touch, the tongue enjoys the taste, etc. But all that is good for the tongue need not necessarily be good for our health, and all that is good for our physical health need not necessarily be good for our mental and spiritual health. Okay, and so by practicing Pratyahara, we are able to withdraw our senses from unwanted things. Then comes Dharana, that is fixing our mind on a certain point. And here Bhattatiri says, "I shall fix my mind on your beautiful form." At first, it might be vague, it will not be clear, but then slowly, due to steady practice, I'll be able to fix my mind on thee and I can meditate on your form with ease. That is dhyana. or meditation. Okay, and then I can enjoy the sweetness of thy saguna aspect, that is personal, the personal aspect, the personal form of the Lord. Saguna aspect is the personal form, and there is the nirguna aspect, that is the formless Brahman. Okay, so then Bhattadri continues to say, I can enjoy the sweetness of thy saguna aspect, that is thy personal form, and also the bliss of thy nirguna aspect, that is the Brahman aspect, and then attain nirvikalpa samadhi. And if at all I fall from that point, I can again start from dharana. I don't have to go down all over again and start all over again. Why do we fall down? Could be due to some distractions or due to some inherent vasanas or tendencies that are lying deep within us, which we have been carrying with us for the past many lifetimes. Okay, and then he says, having attained thee through samadhi, I can move about freely, like free from all attachments, like great sages Narada and Shukadeva Goswami. Yesterday we saw that great sages like Narada Muni and Shukadeva Goswami are able to move about in all the three worlds at their own sweet will. Correct? And then he says, one who is desireless of anything else except you, O Lord, attains Sadhyo Mukti, that is immediate liberation. Okay, and he leaves this body, and then he goes out, leaving, discarding this gross and the subtle bodies. He goes through the Agya Chakra. What is the Agya Chakra? Agya Chakra is situated in the center of the forehead, between the eyebrows. So he leaves through the Agya Chakra and attains thee. And those who are desirous of enjoying the heavenly planets attain Krama Mukti. Sadhya Mukti is immediate liberation, and Krama Mukti is gradual liberation. So those who wish to enjoy the pleasures of the heavenly planets leave through the Brahmarandra. Brahmarandra, that is at the point at the crown of the head. Okay, they leave through the Brahmarandra and then travel through all the heavenly planets, enjoying the pleasures available there, enjoying all the sensual pleasures that are available there, and then gradually they will merge with thee, he says. Okay, merge with the Supreme Brahman. So we have learnt that yogis aspire for Sayujya Mukti. There are 5 types of liberation, we said. Yeah, Sayujya Mukti, Samipya, Salokya, Sarupya, and Sashti. We have learned this in the previous classes. So yogis aspire for Sayujya Mukti, that is merging with the Supreme Brahman. All right. Then Bhattadripad explains the path led by Krama Mukti. Okay, and then he says the devotee who goes through the luminous path does not fall down again into the nether worlds. And he ends the chapter by praying to the Lord, O Lord, O embodiment of pure consciousness, please protect me, please shower thy mercy on me, who is always singing thy glories. Okay, now yesterday we learnt about the devotional service and the qualities of a devotee, right? So the ultimate objective of both this Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is what? Attaining Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The only difference is that yogis aspire for Sayujya Mukti, that is to merge with the Supreme Brahman, whereas the Bhakta does not want Sayujya Mukti. He does not want to merge with the Supreme Brahman. He always wants to remain as a servant of the Lord and serve the Lord always. Okay, that is the only difference between the two. And what, according to the Ashtanga Yoga, first of all, you have to practice breath control. You have to follow all the rules and regulations, then sit in a proper posture, meditate on the Lord. It's a big process. Yeah, Ashtanga Yoga. But Bhakti is very simple, right? And who has the time and paraphernalia? Who has the time? How is the circumstance to follow all this in this age, in this Kali Yuga, right? We don't have the time or the circumstance to do all this. So, and that is exactly why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Lord Krishna himself, appeared in this Kali Yuga to give us the Hare Krishna Mantra. He said, just by chanting the name of the Lord, you attain bhakti, and then you attain the results of all the spiritual practices and all these yogic processes that were practiced during the previous yugas. And that is exactly what Srila Prabhupada asks. When you have the lift available, why do you want to take the staircase and climb the stairs all the way up to the topmost floor? Bhakti is like a lift. It takes you straight up. All right. And the Lord does not look at the outer paraphernalia, He looks only at your heart. Okay, I'll share a small story in this regard and then we'll stop there. Okay. There once lived a butcher in a small town. Okay, and he was a great devotee of the Lord. He used to silently chant the names of the Lord while selling meat. Gradually, he started feeling bad about killing animals, but he had no other means of livelihood, and this was his family business, and he didn't know any other job. So then, what he did was he stopped killing animals. Instead, he started buying meat from the nearby shop and then selling it at a low profit. Okay, and he was using a stone for weighing the meat, and this stone happened to be a shalagrama. You know, the shalagrama is what is Lord Vishnu himself. It is the deity form of the Lord. All right. So one day a passerby who happened to be a pandit saw this butcher weighing meat against this shalagrama. Immediately he approached him and he asked him, do you know what you're doing? This is a shalagram. It is as good as the Lord himself. So the butcher says, I don't know anything about the shalagram and I don't know how this stone happened to come to my hands. It has been with me for quite a long time and I've been using it to weigh the meat. So then the Pandit asks him, okay, then can you give it to me because it has to be worshipped properly. So then the butcher gives the shalagrama to the Pandit because he was not aware of the sanctity of this shalagram. So he gives it to the Pandit who takes it home, keeps it in his puja room, and performs elaborate rituals and very expensive offerings. But in spite of all this, in spite of this elaborate rituals and expensive offerings, the Lord missed the true love and devotion of the butcher. So one day he comes, appears in the Pandit's dream and he asks him, why did you bring me here? I really miss the butcher's love because though his hands were stained with blood, I could feel the warmth of his touch. I could feel that warmth and love. Whenever he touched me, it was like a warm embrace. Can you please take me back? And that is true love. That is true devotion. I miss that here. He always used to talk about me. He always used to chant my name, and he always used to talk about my glories to his customers. And I miss all that. So can you please take me back? And I miss that devotion. I miss that love here. And suddenly the Pandit wakes up and then he realizes and he takes the shalagram back to the butcher and he tells him what happened. The butcher was overjoyed when he heard all this and he takes the shalagrama, he keeps it there, and then he started chanting more and more and preaching more and more to his customers. So that's what do we understand from this? It is not the rituals, rules, and regulations, and the rituals that we do. The Lord looks at our heart. Okay. In spite of all the costly offerings and elaborate rituals in the Pandit's house, the Lord missed true love and devotion that the butcher had. Okay. So, what do we understand from this? It doesn't mean that we should not follow rules and regulations. Rules and regulations are just instruments, vehicles. It's like the lift that we spoke of, or a car. Now, suppose it's an instrument, it's a vehicle. Now, suppose I have to go to a satsang. I go in my car to the satsang, and when I reach the place, I don't want to get down because I enjoy the ride. Then I think, okay, let me go for one more ride and then come back. And then I go round and round instead of getting down at my destination. So then what happens? I miss the satsang, right? So likewise, what happens? We are also attached to the means. These rules and regulations, these rituals are a means to attain our goal. What is our goal? The Lord Himself, to attain the Lord, to get relieved from this never-ending cycle of birth and death. Okay, and this material bondage, to get ourselves free from this material bondage. But what happens is we get attached to these rules and regulations and forget our goal. This human form of life is very rare, like we learned earlier. This human form of life is very rare, and the goal of human life is to attain Godhead, to go back home, back to Godhead. So, the goal of human life is to free ourselves from this material bondage, free ourselves from this never ending cycle of birth and death, and go back home, back to Godhead. Godhead. So, let us use this human form of life wisely. Okay. And now we'll stop here for the time being. We'll meet tomorrow and do the 5th chapter. Thank you for watching, and Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.